Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about what is New Genesis. So you have not played Phantasy Star Online 2, you've never played a Phantasy Star game in your life. And you've heard about all of this hype about Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. You've seen the trailers, you're kind of interested, but you still don't know what you're getting yourself into. Well, in today's video, we're going to be covering everything you need to know about New Genesis. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload PSO2 content daily. So if you plan to play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the very first thing I need to explain to everyone is, what is Phantasy Star Online 2? So PSO2 is a power fantasy game, which means that your character becomes really powerful and really overpowered relatively quickly into the game. And that is the whole point of the game, that you feel super powerful, you feel super strong, and you want to invest more time, more resources in getting even stronger. Now obviously there is power creep in this game, so since this game has been out for like 10 years or something, basically we've gotten harder game modes, mobs have become stronger, classes have become buffed, so forth and so on. And basically at the current state of PSO2, which is basically the ultimate endgame because New Genesis is literally like 2 days away, but at the current state of PSO2, you have the super duper hard difficulty stuff that only like the best of the best can do, but we've got the general content. I want to say like 95% of the content you can do very comfortably. You can just blast through it, you can just have fun, and if you really want to and you really want to min-max, you can do so and really flex on your DPS and get those really big numbers, or do the super duper hard content. There's solo content, there's group content, but PSO2 has always been more focused on group content over solo content. You can do a lot of the group content solo if you get strong enough, but it's not recommended because when you play as a group, you get a lot of passive buffs and it really rewards you for playing with other players. So if you are a pure solo player, yes, you can play Phantasy Star Online, yes, you can play New Genesis, you'll be perfectly fine as a pure solo player. However, just understand that there is a lot of content which is group based. However, the nice thing about New Genesis is the game basically helps you find friends. Like when you go into a zone, you're automatically going to be placed with other players as well. So even though you're not in the same party, you're still working together as a group. For example, when a boss spawns in a zone, there's 12 people or there's 32 people in your zone, and so everyone's gonna see that boss and you're automatically gonna be like, oh, I want to kill that boss, and everyone wants to kill that boss because that boss drops a lot of really useful and nice resources. So everyone naturally just groups together and dogpiles the boss. And the nice thing about New Genesis and just base PSO2 as well is that the game is based off your solo performance. So as long as you personally play well, you can hard carry the entire group. So it's not like League of Legends or like Overwatch where you need to work together as a team. In this game, if your individual performance is really good, or if your knowledge of the game is superb, you can literally hard carry everyone in the game just by yourself, which is really cool. And I really like that because basically you can never blame the other players, or people won't really want to blame you because they can just get better themselves and hard carry everything themselves, which is really nice. Now, the next thing I also need to point out is New Genesis and base PSO2 is mainly PvE focused, alright? There is a PvP scene, yes. Yes, you can do PvP to gain extra resources, which are very nice and very useful. However, PvP is not the main focus of PSO2 or PSO2 New Genesis. It's mainly about the PvE content, working together as a community, and overcoming challenges. Now, before I talk more about New Genesis, here is a short clip of GMCustom basically selling you guys the idea of playing base PSO2. So let's roll the clip.
Really, the only reason why I play this game is the gameplay. Like, the combat is so good. Like, the combat's so in-depth. There's so many classes. There's so many combinations with the subclass system. With 17 weapons in the game. And so many different styles that you can enjoy.
So as you can see, GMCustom is very cultured and very well versed in the world of base PSO2. However, you may have noticed that the graphics and the fidelity of the game is not as high quality to our standards. So don't worry, in New Genesis, everything will be looking like 4K, super sharp textures, everything's gonna look super duper nice. Now, don't panic if you've got a weak computer like myself. Don't worry, you can lower down the resolution to 1080p, you can lower down the textures, so forth and so on, and that way you can still enjoy the awesome world of New Genesis. Alright, now moving on to the finer details of New Genesis. So first of all is the level cap. The level cap of New Genesis is only going to be level 20. However, there will be 6 classes available and you'll be able to switch between each class with the same character, which is very nice. Think of Final Fantasy. Basically, it's like Final Fantasy 14. You can switch your classes whenever you want and play different classes. However, you're going to have to level each one individually. Now in PSO2 as well as New Genesis, there is a main class and a subclass system. So you get to play as 2 classes at any given time. And in New Genesis, they amplified this effect by having the multi-weapon system. So for example, let's say that you like swords, so you can play the hunter, which uses a great sword, but you also like magic, so you can throw in a force as your subclass, so that way you can run around whacking things with your sword. And let's say that there is a flying enemy that is bombarding you from far above and you can't reach it with your greatsword. It's perfectly fine. You can immediately switch to your rod and start casting magic and start burning the boss and just like set it on fire, stun it, it falls down on the ground, switch back to your sword and you wail on it. And this is the magic of New Genesis. You have total freedom of how you want to play. Let's say you want to be a pirate ninja, you can do so by having gunner main class with a fighter subclass, or even the other way around. That way you have twin daggers and you've got twin machine guns, so you can really just go ham. You can shoot aerial units down. Once they fall to the ground, switch to your twin daggers, go super Kirito mode and beat the crap out of it. And there's so much flexibility in this game. It's super duper nice. Now before we continue the video, I have a sales pitch from Marc. Hopefully you guys can enjoy this, but this is advertisement time for New Genesis. Roll the clip.
My friend, I'm aware that you want to play Phantasy Star, or you're trying to convince somebody else who wants to play Phantasy Star, and that's fine. I understand. I've been down that road before. Convincing people to play a free-to-play game that is available on Steam, the Epic Game Store, and Microsoft Game Store for completely free at no extra cost other than your time is a task all its own. But what if I told you that on June 9th, the sequel and or expansion to the already existing Phantasy Star Online 2, Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis will be released? You'll be able to get in on the ground floor for free. At 4 a.m. June 9th, you'll be able to play Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis for completely free at no extra cost and embrace the future. Now I know that might be a little bit difficult because it might be that the level cap is only level 20, but that's only where your journey begins for a free-to-play game. Level 20. In the first month, but level 35 to be in winter, you have more than enough time to get your feet wet, understand your mistakes and learn your mistakes, and then continue. You don't have to worry about whatever base PSO2 nonsense there is, other than maybe logging in now for 100 free star gems between today and tomorrow. But whatever you do, the game is free. And you get 2 games, and with 1 character. You'll be able to swap between Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, the base game, and Phantasy Star Online 2, the base game. There's 2 base games here. Forget that. We're just calling them both base games. But with 1 character, you'll be able to swap between both seamlessly. If that's not more than enough reason for you to be able to play the game, then I have no idea what that might be. With unlimited amounts of fashion, creativity, the only thing you have to do is play Phantasy Star Online 2. Start now or start on June 9th at 4 a.m. You have no reason not to. The game is free. It doesn't cost you anything other than your time. You should play the game. The game is free.
PSO2 New Genesis launches on June 9th.
So you heard that right, everyone. New Genesis and base PSO2 are free. Yes, 100% free. Yes, there are microtransactions, obviously, in case you do want extra fashion, in case you do want premium, in case you do want extra services, so forth and so on. But you can play this game fully free to play and really enjoy it. How do I know? Because I have not spent any money on this game, and I've played fully free to play on base PSO2 for a year. I'm going to do the exact same when moving over to New Genesis. Now, there's something that I want to make clear to everyone, and that is, yes, you can use in-game currency, which is Meseta, or in New Genesis is going to be called New Meseta. You can use this currency to buy cosmetic items that usually cost real money. So think of Black Desert Online, where premium users or cash users buy costumes and they put it onto the market, and other players use silver to buy these costumes. It's the exact same system here, where you can use New Meseta in order to buy cosmetic items which other players want to sell to us. So even though you are fully free to play, don't worry, you can still look fabulous. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is affixing. A lot of people got very scared about affixing on the base PSO2 game because it was basically calculus plus rocket science with bioengineering combined with each other. So it was very, very complicated, and it scared off a lot of people. But don't worry, in New Genesis, affixing is basically like every other game with substats on your weapons as well as your units. Units are basically armor. They call it units for whatever reason, but just think armor. So when you want to put substats onto your weapon, onto your armor, just to make them stronger, you can do so one at a time. So the old archaic system in base PSO2 required you to do all of your substats in one go. You couldn't do one substat at a time. You had to do all of them at once. And if you wanted to change a specific substat, you had to redo the entire process again, which was super archaic, super annoying, and it drove everyone crazy. But don't worry, in New Genesis, you can do it one at a time. And if you fail a specific substat, it's fine. You can just try again and do it once more. And you're not going to lose all of your substats. You will only lose the specific substat that you failed at, which is super nice because that way you're not gambling your entire weapon and all of the hard work and hours that you put onto making the perfect weapon or the perfect armor. All right. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is New Genesis is an open world game. So just think of Genshin Impact. You are like a traveler. You came from space and you are now on this planet, and you can go anywhere on this planet and just explore the world and just see what there is. There's a bunch of hidden treasure chests, there's minerals, there's flowers, there's fruit, there's animals, there's hunting, there's gathering. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do in this world. So even though you do have a level cap of 20, sure, you can just blast through the main storyline, you can do all the side missions, so forth and so on. But if you just want to travel the world and explore the environment, you are actually rewarded for that because there are so many secret treasure chests hiding here and there, and they actually provide some really good items. So there are certain 3-star rarity armors just hiding in the middle of nowhere, and 3-star rarities are actually really, really good. That's level 15 and above type of armors. And since the level cap is 20, that's relatively mid to end game armors that you can find just sitting around there. And sometimes there are rare boss spawns, and there's dynamic missions that happen randomly in the open world, and all of these are very, very rewarding. They'll give you money as well as upgrade materials as well as other resources, which is a huge incentive to just play the game and just explore and have fun. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!
What can I say except you're welcome for the here